Welcome back to Modern Mommies here on tweettalk.tv. We're here live every Wednesday. I am Alexis Ann Moore, the creator of the Superhero Children program and mother of a beautiful 3-year-old boy. With me, I've got Jennifer Perry, who has been working in the school system, the Dallas school system, for 17 years and is a school counselor, and also she has 3 beautiful children. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
And I've got Christopher Witecki, the Wizard of Soul Garden himself, here with us today. How are you doing, Christopher? And I've got Mary Neva. Neva. I always want to say Nieva like it's snowing every time I say your name. But I've got Mary with us today, and it's so wonderful to have you here with us, Mary. I'm sure that you're going to be able to help out a lot with the experiences you've had having siblings. I'm sure have exhibited a lot of the characteristics. I lost my words, but I know you've got experience and you can throw down on some information with us today. While we talk about the concept that we're covering today is boys will be boys and everything that goes along with that concept. Gender roles. Gender roles. And also we've got, well, a great intro into that today. Jennifer, what's been going on in the news this week? We've got some sad news. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't think that we can really have this show without talking about the shooting that happened Friday in Washington. There was a 14-year-old boy, freshman, who went into the lunchroom. He texted his friends and said, "Hey, come and eat lunch with me." 2 of them were his cousins. And they were eating casually, talking, nothing, nobody was arguing or anything. And what a witness said is all of a sudden he stood up and he pulled something out of his pocket, and it was a Beretta gun. I'm not really familiar with guns. That he had gotten from somebody in his family, and he shot 5 people, ended up killing 2 of them, and then ended up killing himself in the end. There was there was a teacher that came in and kind of he was trying to reload his gun, and he couldn't get it to reload, and so a teacher came in and kind of talked him down, and then he turned it, I guess, on himself and ended up killing himself too. But go ahead.
He was how old? 14?
14 years old. And he was a popular kid. Just last week he was just crowned homecoming prince. He was a football player. He was well liked. He was not somebody who was always in trouble or anything like that. And so the town, it's about 40 miles north of Seattle. The town is just totally just shocked. They can't believe that it happened. They never saw it coming. There are just so many unanswered questions about why and what happened and all of that.
I wonder if there was some kind of, if he was on medication or anything.
Sounds suspicious.
Yeah.
No, nobody has said that he was a medicated kid or anything like that. That's not what's come up. What they have pointed out is like, okay, if I misspeak, excuse me, but up in Washington State there are a lot of Indian reservations, and so he was a member of the Indian Nation that was up there. But I think, like down here, that's not very typical, but up there in the area, it seems like that was very typical, and there were lots of like Indian reservations that went to school, and everybody kind of commingled together.
So, well, what is Indian? That's what I understand why they're bringing up the Indian reservation. What does that have to do with anything? Because it's not like he came out and started killing people with a bow and arrow. Why would you bring up the race of the Indians? Who cares? I think that's really racist. That's reaching on the press's part or whoever.
Yeah,
like, well, he did hang out with those Indians. Maybe that's what made him crazy.
Kind of reminds me of the story last week with blaming with blaming Slender Man on a children's game. It's like, wow, that's interesting news.
Yeah, well, and
interesting. So.
And I think like the grandfather came out and spoke, and I think he was an elder in the tribe. That may have even been what brought up the Indian thing, but really it kind of came off to me as it was perfectly normal. I guess like if you lived in Oklahoma where there are lots of Indians and Indian reservations, I don't think that was anything different or new for that area up there. It may be atypical for us because we're not used to that, but I don't think that was a big deal.
What, typical to have an elder come out and speak, or to have a school shooting?
Well, to have the elder come out and speak and be part of, like the community and all of that.
Right. I mean, I have not, this is actually kind of sad. I saw this on Facebook. That's how I found out. I saw links, but my son has been sick and in my arms, and so I haven't really looked into it much. And what I'm saying is sad is that, like, normally that would be such big news, but it happens so often now that I didn't even feel like I needed the details. I already know, But the idea that he seemed to have purposefully gone there, it sounds like it was an aggressive act of suicide. So it feels a little bit different. That's why I asked about about medication, like psychological medication, because that's when you hear about people committing suicide, is their medication got tweaked or something. I mean, I think, wasn't that the case with Robin Williams? You don't hear about it in an aggressive way. Going out in rage and committing suicide.
Well, and he seemed, what the witnesses say is he seemed very calm. Like, he was talking to his friends that morning, and at lunch he was laughing, and everything was very calm. And so that's what's really...
It's a calm act for sure. But so where are the parents? What are they, what are these, have they talked to the parents? Have you seen the parents?
I didn't see anything from the parents. The grandfather did come out and talk. But that's the only thing that I had seen from the family, because two of his cousins are two of the people that he shot, and everybody says they were very close. They grew up together. It's just very interesting. But he planned it because he texted that group of kids and told them to come, and eat at this table with me and everything. And so it was very planned out.
So he was trying to get his other friends to be killed there.
He shot his friends.
Right, but he texted his friends to come to the table beforehand, an invitation to die, basically?
Pretty much, yes.
Wow.
That's dark.
So it was very premeditated and very planned out. He didn't plan on shooting other people. He shot those 5 friends of his.
This is like one of those that I almost want to go there and, like, see with my own eyes what the fuck is going on.
Yes.
I'm kind of curious. It's like, and... wow. Like, was this kid just insane, or?
Everybody says he wasn't. He was a normal. I mean,
like that's a sociopath kind of thing. But I was watching. I want to say, like, this is a growing trend. It's a disturbing trend. I gotta say, with the college kid from San Diego that walked into a Colorado theater and shot people. That kid was clearly on some sort of mind control. He looked. Days after in the courtroom, like he was on acid or something. And I have been, and I don't think he was that way before. I watched a documentary on the JFK assassinations and whatnot, and you would think, oh, what else can you hear? Well, where JFK's brother was assassinated, these psychologists did these long interviews with the actual guy who assassinated them, and it was pretty clear that this guy had been set up with subconscious triggers by someone to once sugar was poured into the coffee like 3 times by this one woman, he went into a trance and can't remember anything after that. And like it was and so basically operatives had come in. This woman with big breasts was supposed to stir coffee from, and it triggers whatever they planted. He knew where the gun was. Went up to the president and shot. Did not even. And then afterwards, upon years and years and years of interviews, the man's like, I don't even remember it. All I remember was going to get coffee, and da da da. So this is all extremely suspicious. My point is that there seems to be this weird initiative to try to disarm America. That's what it seems like the root intention is with this. Like, if there was to be a conspiracy, it's to like take away guns because there seems to be this big. Which I think is only going to backfire, because what's happening is you're creating more fear, and people are arming themselves more.
Yes. Yeah. I think I saw a study that gun sales have like quadrupled in the last 2 years since they started beating that drum.
Well, whatever it is, I don't think America will ever disarm itself. I want to know where these parents are. I want to know where the kid was. You know, in the San Diego case, of the one case, it's like the parents were like, we are just. Actually, no. You know what's really weird? The father of that San Diego case, the father was like some sort of huge neurologist scientist in the university there. And I was like, what, you throw your own kid to experiment? Like, oh my God. But it just smelled just bad. But I don't know. It's pretty, you know, I don't know. I think, you know, my only spin to this with the sun in Scorpio is just like, I think a lot of things are going to trigger people. And you have to ask yourself, are you going to respond to these things the old way or a new way? You know, and it's like one way is to not be afraid. One way is to not buy into the bullshit. One way is to actually, you know, connect to your own. So if you're worried, if this type of thing worries you, well then look your own kid in the eye and look all of his friends in the eye and get a fucking read of your neighborhood and see if your tail goes up, because that's what it takes to really keep America safe. Is everyone just kind of like scanning their own area, but definitely don't become more afraid, don't become more armed, don't react the way the media wants you to. That's for damn sure.
You know, I tell my students, we actually discussed Ebola in one of my classes last week because the kids wanted to. They looked really freaked out about it, and so we discussed it, but from the angle of fear. So one of my sweet young students, he was petrified because his brother told him that his favorite sports athlete was dying of Ebola. Okay, as a joke, his big brother didn't think it was that big of a deal, but the kid was really freaking out for days about it. And when I explained to him that it wasn't true, we all saw how he physically reacted, and then talked with him about how did that feel, and he described it like just that physical emotion that he was going through over something that was never even real in the first place. So been talking about fear and what fear will, like, if your action comes from fear, it's not generally going to be the most helpful action. So, and what we were talking about in the street was, what if you were or in class was, what if you were walking down the street and all these people have Ebola all around you? It's like worst case scenario from, you know, the doom scene there. It's freaking out and going, ah! Actually going to help you not get Ebola, or is taking a very calm, centered approach going to help you rise above whatever situation it is? You find that place, and then in that place you're also able to scan your environment and read the scenes of the people around you. I don't know. That calm approach is always the most helpful, no matter what we're talking about, be it Ebola or school shootings.
That's so true.
You know, mothers know their child, and if you have a child who's a sociopath, I mean, it would be really hard for other people to see that, probably. But mothers know their children. Fathers too. I'm a mom. That's what I speak from.
Well, and I think sociopaths are raised. I don't think you just come out that way. I think that's
that's an interesting point.
Yeah, that's it, because really
this is like a way of even saying, like, my parents are nuts and so am I.
Well, but it's kind of, I mean, like in the counseling world, when we look at diagnosing, that would be a personality disorder, which is made from your environment and your parenting and your upbringing, things like that. People don't just come out usually without the ability to feel or have empathy, or they don't come out of the womb learning that to manipulate other people to get what they want at all costs. Well, that's a taught behavior.
I think sociopaths aren't necessarily just manipulating other people to get what they want, and that's part of it, because they don't feel like they don't care either way, but their danger is that they really don't feel. I haven't been around very many, but it does kind of feel like something is missing, though. It kind of feels like that, like almost like when we were talking before about hyperactive children process electrically in different places, and their brain is even shaped differently. I mean, that could be. I don't know. I haven't read studies on sociopaths.
A lot of that comes from being an unattached baby and not having that initial nurturing and that whole Erikson psychosocial development. Those babies don't get that initial nurturing, and they don't learn to love and accept love and all of that. They learn to kind of close down. And so then that as they grow older, then you don't have that attachment to your own feelings, and you can't understand somebody else, how somebody else might feel.
Yeah.
This one picture of him looks pretty warm, though, man. He looks like he's in his soul.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, the entire...
He looks like he's in his heart, like, you know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't spot him as a killer.
Can you share it? Can you screen share that picture, Christopher?
Oh, sure, no problem, yeah.
The entire town
doing it without you guys.
I know.
Oh, my God.
What picture?
Oh, this is so amazing. Okay.
The entire town is absolutely shocked because he was so normal and so happy and a great kid.
Doesn't he look like he has a good heart? It seems like there's a warmth in his eyes there. These are the girls, though. But maybe these girls, I'll tell you, girls, you drive us. No, I shouldn't say that. Which were his cousins? It's not really a good joke. I take it back. I'm sorry. But this is his, like, crew.
Yes, these are the people, the two girls died.
Oh, no.
Yeah, these are the two girls that died. Those are his two cousins. Mad at them.
Interesting. All these iPhone selfies out there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Why in the world?
Maybe a recurrent piece. I'm sorry.
There's something very, very wrong in this scene. Something seriously. I mean, obviously there's something wrong, but that I can't even really wrap my mind around that.
It doesn't make any psychic sense or anything.
No.
I'm gonna meditate on it next time I'm meditating and see what God has to say about it. Like, what happened up there?
Well, and can you?
Right.
That was one of my questions as an astrologer. Can you look at his birth chart and that day and see what energy might have caused that, or what was kind of pulling at him?
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is that like for instance, when Jim Morrison overdosed, we can see when that happened. But like he had an issue where every year that same spot hit him in the face, hit him in the face, hit him in the face, hit him in the face. So it was eventually one time where it all blew over. So you should see a trend though. Not just like this.
All of a sudden.
To answer the question, no, I don't ever see like a just total cliff. And a lot of in astrology you can see people can go one way or the other. But just looking at the vibe of that one picture, I would have called even astrologer like, he's going the good way, don't worry. Energetically, I would have felt like something feels fishy, something's weird. The premeditation of it is really weird too. That's really weird.
Yeah, and family and friends.
Yes.
I think the government. No, I don't think the government. I think who would it be? I mean, like we need to figure out someone needs to figure out what went wrong in that situation. Like, was it parents beating him? Was it that he snapped? Where was he 30 seconds before? Where do you get the idea of text messaging your friends? That's kind of dark. That's premeditated, dark. That means you're sitting there thinking about the best way.
Well, that was his crew, though. Maybe there was something going on. Maybe they had some kind of weird, dark thing going on between them.
Sometimes that happens too, especially with cousins and stuff. That's actually when I saw those two girls and them doing their pictures. I'm like, oh God, those kind of girls are headaches. And then it's like, oh, those ones that died. But seriously, I've had cousin girls like that, like you know what I mean? It's just like, oh. But not to the point. I mean, where do you even get the gun thing? Like, I don't even know. Where does he learn to use the gun?
I don't know where he learned, but he got it from somebody in his family. So from another family member.
Oh, so much sadness.
Well,
that leads us to
the next happy topic.
The next happy topic. Gender roles. We're discussing gender roles today, and we're discussing it from the idea. For me personally, my approach on this subject is that I've noticed a lot of mothers instilling what a boy should be into their sons, such as boys don't cry, don't hit like a girl. I'm hearing this from moms who don't necessarily have the perfect husband at home, you know, no warmth really coming from there. So that is huge. Until I was a parent and started paying attention to that in young children, because that's when you see it and that's where you know where it's coming from. I would never have thought women are the ones that are raising men to feel like it's not okay to have emotions and show them and process them. I'm totally blown away by that.
But
do you see a lot of that, Jennifer, in your school, in your boys?
You see a happy mix of it. We have our fair share of parents who say, you know, boys don't cry or toughen up. I had a little boy last year whose favorite color was pink. And his dad would walk him to school every day and tell him that pink's for sissies. You can't like pink. If you're going to like pink, then you're going to be a sissy. You're not a real boy. And by the end of the year, he was a first grader. By the end of the year, when his teacher asked him what his favorite color was, he had changed it to, like, black. And she said, well, I thought it was pink. And he was like, nah, pink's for sissies. I don't like pink. Black. And so just in that, you know, little bit of time, he totally changed, you know, because what it does is it creates confusion in the kids. If there's something that they really like, that their heart's saying yes to, and then these outside people that are really important to them are saying, no, that's not right, you're wrong, you know, that doesn't make you a real man, they go into this confusion state. They don't know if they should believe what they feel or if they should believe, you know, what society's telling them. And that's how we're messing up our boys.
Yeah. My 2.5-year-old, months ago, told me he started crying and then he stopped and looked at me and said, boys can't cry. What? Where did that come from? Not from me. I had never heard it before. One of his friends told him, and he believed it so intensely that I had to have an intervention with his dad and have his dad fake cry in front of him to show him that it's true. And that boys can cry and that it's okay, and that it didn't make any sense to say otherwise. That was really upsetting, and the friend he heard it from his mom. Yeah, his mom, who was not affectionate and all of this. We're teaching what exactly here? He's not the only boy that's like that. I'm using him as a generalization, but I mean I see it a lot. I see a lot of moms doing that. It's confusing to me. Very confusing.
Well, and what we're teaching our boys is to shut their emotions down. And then when you can't kind of shut your emotions down and turn it off and on, and so then they tend to grow up into our boys who don't know how to open up or express their feelings, or, you know, they're just completely shut down. Right. And so then you're dealing with that. Maybe we should ask our two boys. Yeah. If they know or they have experience, but really, were y'all ever told boys don't cry or be a man?
Of course. Football practice.
Yeah.
Coaches, football practice, baseball practice, all the coaches do that. There's no crying in baseball, you know.
Right. Yeah, our media.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Our boys are taught at a really young age what a real man or, you know, is supposed to be. And if they don't fit into that box or that idea, that's when our boys start getting confused and not trusting themselves and their own emotions and all of that.
Yeah, my son was really bent out of shape about it. I'm glad hopefully I caught it. Well, I did. I caught it fast enough, but I don't know how long he had been holding that in his head. Because when he told me, it was obvious in the moment internal conflict, because he started crying and then he stopped and said, no, boys don't cry.
Yeah.
What? Get it out, kid. And the funny thing is the men that I know that can process their emotions in the moment and deal with them and not get hung up on them because they experience it naturally without judging themselves, like, that is strength, because then you're not acting from some place of dysfunction later. You know? Because you're deep. What do you think about that?
I think I'm thinking back about my parents. First of all, my parents were so busy crying. We didn't have time to cry.
Oh God, that sounds
My parents
horrible.
were such a forgiving mess, and I think for myself, I must have observed early on my own to hold it in. I wasn't told to hold it in, but I was telling myself to somewhere. I learned it as to observe behavior, and it's true. Like the male archetypes, like Damon said, like the coaches. In the best case experience, like in the best, they're a coach, a compassionate coach, like a really compassionate coach would be like, walk it off.
Right, shake it off.
That's
Yep.
a compassionate coach. Walk it off, Nikki. Walk it off. Okay, coach. It's like, and that was a compassionate coach. I think David's right. Otherwise, they get a little. They bring. There's this like toughen up. I think. That's the whole thing. I think male energy. I mean, the human species, I think, has this idea that if to get strong means to add more weight, and that's the only way to get stronger. And not very much sensitivity to what's going on.
Yeah.
In Little League, like when you're playing football and you have 30 of your friends around you, and you get, let's say you're in football and you get cracked and you start crying, you learn pretty quick to not cry when you have all these people looking at you and the coach screaming at you. So it shuts it down really, really fast.
And then later on, the boys mimic that with each other and hold each other accountable to that.
Absolutely.
To what they're taught. Yeah, and it just keeps replicating itself. It starts with cartoons. If you watch like Popeye, you don't see Popeye or Brutus crying. You just don't. It starts at a very young age. What we're showing our kids and just subtly teaching them.
And we all grew up on like Rocky and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies where the hero did not cry; he just blew everybody away. So that was what we all grew up on, and that's who we mimicked. We mimicked wrestling and Hulk Hogan and those guys. At least our generation did.
What was your experience with you have 6 brothers, isn't that right, Mary?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure you've seen this in action.
Well, it was funny because of there being 12 of us, I think we were all treated equally as you don't cry, because the masses, I just think, unfortunately, my parents were able to handle 12 children having their little bits of crying attacks or whatever. They kind of held us all back emotionally that way. We were told, if you're crying now, I'll give you something to cry about, kind of thing.
Oh, I heard that one before.
Yeah.
That's actually.
Yeah.
So it's
As a parent, though, I finally understand what that means, though. Now that I have 380 on it, I'm like, and he's crying over that he can't play, Xbox tonight. It's like, oh, please, I don't give you something to cry about.
Well, with 12, somebody's always going to be crying, I would guess.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My son has learned how to fake cry. Well, he's always known, and children do that. But mine is really good. He's gonna be an actor. He is an actor. He gets tears. It's full on. It's like so pathetic. Then he'll see something and he'll go, oh, da 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 da. And I look at him. I say, you tricked me. He goes, yeah. Ugh.
That sounds fair.
3. Magic.
He's going to be a smart one.
In
So
Southern
I do understand the excessive crying, and there's the extreme of that. Jennifer, we were talking the other night about one of my experiences working mom's having a business meeting while the boys were indoors trying to talk very important business meeting stuff, and their boys are running around with giant swimming pool noodles whacking the crap out of each other, and this is like yoga granola kind of vibe moms, and which I tend to come across as, but anyway, not the group mentality. So so the boys are running around, and it's kind of like a oh, just they're natural boys, just let them do their thing. And I'm thinking, okay, well, first of all, what about respecting our dynamic that we have important stuff to discuss? But second of all, boom, somebody got whacked in the face. Of course they did. And what happens? The kid's not even really that hurt. He, though, instantly finds that, oh, now I have an opportunity to, like, suck everybody's energy out of the entire room. So I'm going to go cry to Mommy. And he is dramatically boo-hooing to Mommy, and Mommy's holding him, and he's like maybe 6 or 7 years old, but he's really not hurt. Like, it's just a fake drama thing. And everybody's getting involved except for me, and they, you know, talk him through, you know, calm your body and let's use our words. And that's funny. I say that to my son, but not like this. But, you know, what words are you feeling? What are your feelings? And making him publicly in front of everybody, like, really express his true feelings. And then they made the other boy come over, and you need to sit down and listen to his feelings on this. And I'm sitting back observing this going, you know, like, feelings are important. And I have my son, like, I say to him, oh, I can see you're angry. Let's deal with that. But this was just too much. It was just too much. Nothing was taught except how to steal the vibe out of everybody in the entire room. Everybody's focused on this kid, and it humiliated the other one. Grossed me out.
The boys
That's
don't
what I was
want
going
that,
to say. Like, we don't have a problem in California with boys not crying. We have a problem with boys not fucking getting their shit together. Like, the kids everywhere, just like that in Southern California, like everywhere, they're just like, the parents are just like having tea, and the kids are like, stuff's falling down in front of them, and the parents aren't even paying attention, and just like, oh my God, would you please, you know, like, please control your children.
Parental responsibility is so important.
Or they'll just break down and the kiddo start crying and temper tantrum, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, I guess, you know, yeah, if I would have thrown a scene like that, my parents wouldn't have tolerated that for 2 seconds. They just wouldn't.
It was not just tolerated by the parent. It was tolerated, okay, it was tolerated like a cultural thing. It was almost as if, like, who's more granola, who is more in touch with their whatever, and it wasn't even anything for me to discuss or to say, hey, by the way, that kid's, like, totally not hurt, but it was like they were, like, as a group, it was a group mentality of who's the most sensitive and nurturing mommy in the room. It was just barf. It was ego.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, it sounds like the parents are drama queens, and it's like, and those kids are growing up to, like, you know, under drama queens, having to out drama queen their parents. And I've seen, like, look, any TV show on Bravo, it's full of families like that.
Yes. Yes, I will tell you, out of all of our kids at school, if you have a drama queen or somebody who's always into something or making a big deal out of nothing, a kid, show me their parents, because I promise you they are exactly like them. They're learning it from somebody.
That's funny.
It is so true. Oh, it's so true.
And I can just totally see that yoga mom, like, hold on, let's just do what we learned with Dr. Phil and everyone else that I personally read in the Glamour magazine. You know, like,
right.
Those parents, like, hold on, the kid was upset a second ago. What the fuck?
Right. Well, and the thing is that the kids are not learning how to deal with reality. I mean, seriously, show me when this child is a grown person how that is going to play out. No, you need to sit down and listen to my feelings.
Well, I'll tell you how to plan. It turns them into mama's boys. That's what you get when you raise a kid like that. You teach them that it doesn't prepare them for real life or how to be in successful relationships.
That's so true. You girls have that one coming back, let me tell you, because those are the guys that won't get a job, live on the couch, and live off of you in the future.
Yes.
I have lots of those clients. I mean, women that are trying to get those guys, and it's because the boy could do no wrong in his mother's eyes.
Right. Right.
Well, possibly, if it's all ego-driven on the mother's end, then possibly that's what they want. Maybe they don't know it, but they, you know.
Yeah,
It becomes a codependent thing, because a lot of times the mother, you know, doesn't want to lose her, I don't know, she doesn't want to be alone. A lot of times these are single mothers. They, like, overly nurture their boy. Their boy can do no wrong, da-da-da-da, and, like, the boy goes off and lives off some other woman like that the rest of his life.
Yes, because that's all he's ever known.
Uh-huh.
Right. Well, it's funny, as parents, you have to think that, because every mommy wants to baby their little boy and make sure that he's okay. But you really have to remember that I'm raising a husband for somebody someday. And the stuff, doing everything for your little boy constantly and not teaching him how to be responsible or get a job or any of that is not helping him in real life.
Well, not only that, but we're raising future grown people,
Man-child.
No matter what they end up being or doing, they're going to be a grown person all on their own trying to figure it out. And learning how to solve your own problem, learning how to not... My son went through a phase where if anything happened, if his favorite movie skipped, okay, he would throw a shrieking fit. And I just walk in the room and look at him and say, did that work for you? Did your movie turn back on? Do you want to throw a fit by yourself in the room because it's too loud for my ears, I can't stand it? Or do you want to solve your problem? We can solve the problem. But I mean, if he's really hurt, oh my God, my arms are so there all the time. If he's really sad. But it depends. I mean, is he sad because there's a problem he doesn't know how to solve and he's frustrated? That's the thing. So I look at my son and say, let's walk through it. Or when he's really, really upset, I have him do his deep breaths, or we do ohms, which is so super cute and works every time. Oh, my little 3-year-old. Oh, it's so cute.
Now she is the yoga mom.
It works to redirect a 3-year-old, though, his thought process. And then I show him how to do it. And now he can do it himself, so we don't have to do that, And the goal is to learn how to self-soothe, not throw a fit every time something doesn't work out for you, and how to solve your own problem. And if it's not something that fits into that realm, then it's probably an actual sad thing that they need real nurturing and hugs for.
But at least you're teaching him now how to do that. And so then that way when he grows up, he has those skills.
And we talk about, I can say, oh, it looks like you're really angry. That doesn't really look like it feels good. Does that feel good to you? And he says, no. Do you want to feel better? Yeah. Well, what can you do to feel better? And then he does his ohms or whatever he does. Acknowledging the emotions. Maybe that's the fine line. Acknowledge the emotions and let them know that the emotions are okay, but don't pander to them excessively. Check in with your own ego, Mom. Are you doing it out of a sense of guilt, or are you doing it because your intuitive mommy sense is saying my son needs my arms? Check in with yourself, Mom. Because you are going to be creating a future husband, and these moms that have been doing this, boy, don't hit like a girl and boys don't cry and all of this stuff. They're creating the same guy, and it's like a cycle, because obviously if those moms are married to boys like that, then it's like a cycle in a cycle. Oh, geez, Louise. Anyway, all right. Well, enough of that. Hey, we've got Damon Perry with us. He has joined us live here on Modern Mommies to talk about some ways to boost our immune system against viruses. And we've been talking about Ebola and about protecting ourselves and boosting our immune system, because from my understanding, the immune system is the #1 way to protect you from any virus like that.
Right.
That it's actually the only way.
Right. Yeah, it's not quite as scary here in Dallas as the news is portraying. So, but that's all to drum up a little fear over Ebola. But yeah, here's what I was going to say about Ebola is I told Jen this the other night, but back in like '94, I read a book called The Hot Zone, and The Hot Zone was a fictitious book based on Ebola. This is before it was really, really widespread, but they blew up Ebola to be this horrendous, horrible, nightmarish movie type of a disease. And this is where I got all my information from on Ebola for the last 15 years or so. And this is like the dissolving from the inside, the horrible stuff. You guys may have touched on this before. I'm not sure, but this book used to be a big seller back in '94, and it's now #7 again. It's shot back up the charts because of Ebola. But it's sensationalized the downside of what Ebola actually does. So it's taken it to a level 10 when it really is way down here. And so I was running around saying, yeah, this stuff's going to dissolve you from the inside. You're going to crash and bleed out. These are all keywords from the hot zone. So it's not really accurate as to what Ebola really does in the real world. And Ebola is one of the worst retroviruses out there. It's based off of a Marburg virus. They're very similar. It just causes you to hemorrhage and bleed internally and bleed out of your eyes and things like that. But we all know that because of the media. However, it is a virus, and it can be killed, in my opinion. You can use things like colloidal silver. I've got some right here. And what colloidal silver does is it does 3 different things to a virus. It acts like a shotgun blast. It can poke holes through the actual cell membranes. It can keep it from uptaking oxygen, and it can also keep it from bonding to like the host cells. So it's got a 3-pronged attack. And it tastes like nothing. It's super cheap, and I mean you can get it anywhere. And the fact that the FDA and a bunch of government agencies are starting to crack down on colloidal silver kind of gives you a warning flag that it actually does good because they don't want it out there. Does that make sense?
You know, talking about this, I was I haven't put my blog for the week out because I've been with my son doing mommy snuggle sick baby boy stuff, but you know, I wanted to put all this stuff in there about colloidal silver, and everything I'm finding about ways to boost the immune system naturally against Ebola all has this serious conspiracy theory air to it. And
what do you mean?
I agree with what they're saying. I just didn't want to have this heavy conspiracy theory blog post, you know. But it's very difficult to find the good information separate from that.
Which part are you talking about? Are you talking about the actual virus, or are you actually talking about the other part?
About the FDA cracking down on colloidal silver. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal.
Well, I mean, everybody knows my type of stance on this type of thing. You know, there's always money behind all this stuff. Things this big don't happen just circumstance. Ebola is called hot virus. It'll flash. It kills so fast that it just flashes out and doesn't have the chance to jump to another population, which is why it pops up in Africa. It doesn't come from monkeys. That's all BS. It'll pop into a population, kill, then it just flames out. Then you don't hear about it forever. This is back in the 90s. You'd hear about it popping up, kill a village, and then you don't hear anything about it. Now it's killing, 3,000 to 4,000 people over there, and there's different takes on this. I read a blog post about a guy in Liberia who said the only people getting sick are the ones who are going to the Red Cross and getting injected with the vaccination. So I'm not standing there. I'm not there, but these guys are like, you're all being fed bullshit. The people walking in there getting vaccinated are the ones getting sick, and there is a time lag from when you get the injection versus when you actually come down with Ebola. So they could vaccinate thousands, a few weeks goes by, and then all of a sudden you start coming down with the flu-like symptoms, and you die. So why would they do that? What's the purpose? There's theories that they wanted some troops on the ground to get in there. Why is it in America now all of a sudden? And then how do they fast-track a vaccination or a medicine within 2 or 3 weeks?
That's always suspicious, too.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's got me crazy is the damn shingles virus, where it's like shingles are just something that only old people got.
Yeah.
Right? Suddenly, it really is spreading like wildfire out of nowhere in young people, and simultaneously, there's 2 competing pharmaceuticals that have a shingles antivirus thing. You should consult your doctor. And it's like,
wow.
First of all, vaccinations take years and years to get through, and the fact that they get fast-tracked means somebody owns stock in a pharmaceutical company, and they're going to make billions. If you go back, if you know anything about predictive programming, a lot of this information comes out there years before it even hits the media. So if you go back and look at Mission Impossible 2 and look at the story plot, they create the Chimera virus, which is much like Ebola, and it's like a weapon. It's a bioweapon. You can easily get Ebola from the Marburg virus. So here's my theory. You create this monster, you release it out there, you make the medicine, you make billions. Whoever owns stock in the company that gets fast-tracked medicine is going to make billions of dollars. They even made a movie plot out of it. That's just my crazy take on it, though.
You know what, though? What I find interesting is when I was researching Ebola, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control owns the patent on Ebola. Like there's a patent number, and they own the patent on it. Yep. And so that would be like patenting cancer or something like that, which is
who owns a patent on what?
The CDC.
The U.S.
CDC.
Yeah. The U.S. Center for Disease Control owns the patent on Ebola.
Ebola has all the characteristics of a bioweapon. It's very similar to Marburg virus, which it's a hemorrhagic fever that comes from mice. You can easily take the Marburg, the U.S. Army, the infectious diseases guys up in Maryland, they can take that and create Ebola because they're so similar, and then test it out in Africa to see what actually happens as test runs, because they never make the weapon without making the cure either. That's just the way they work. And so they could let it out. I mean, this may sound crazy as hell, but it's always about the money if you follow the money trail. The fact that medicine is coming out so fast is a giant red flag that this is all planned for profit.
What upsets me a little bit is that there's talk about how, like, once you are suspected, you can be quarantined.
Of course,
yes.
Because,
Now that is just like, now when you add that up, when you add Ebola up to the whole idea that there's like the United States is building FEMA camps nationwide, and oh my God, what if the government just said, you know what, we're going to quarantine Boston?
Mm-hmm.
Let me throw you another angle.
And what will we say? What could we do as citizens? Could we even get in there?
You can't do anything. Like the FEMA camps and all of those things, there's a law that says that the FEMA group has the right to quarantine people, and you don't have a choice about it.
You have no law. You have no rights.
And those biocontainment hospitals, that's what they're calling them, they're everywhere. I should pull up the map. There's one in Dallas. There's one in Houston. They're all over the East Coast. They're in California. They're like everywhere,
and
which is really interesting.
Ebola doesn't even really have to get out. All they have to do is let a couple people die and then just scream about it all over the news, Ebola, 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 which they're doing. And once they hit that medicine out there, people will rush to go get the vaccinations and they'll make a lot of money. So you don't even have to kill it.
There's an Ebola vaccination? There is not.
It's a medicine. It's a.
Well, they have a medicine that you take if you have it, right?
But it's on the way.
But isn't there a vaccine being
in the works?
In the works. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the thing is this whole show tonight has been kind of, I'm feeling this vibe lately. I've been trying to feel out with regards to presenting this show. I mean, this is not conspiracy theory show. This is modern mom show, okay? And both of the subjects that we've covered so far have been very driven in this way. But the thing is, and I'm trying, because I work in the public school system, so I'm very aware of my words and how I approach subjects, because I don't want to ever infringe on the trust and the trust of the parents. But in my own personal world, being a mother, I have been paying attention. It could simply start from the fact that I'm paying attention to the healthy food to feed my child, and then realize that I'm going to the grocery store, and my biggest fight on keeping my child healthy is the FDA. Monsanto Act, like what the, excuse my French, but what the fuck is that? So they're protected by our government so that they cannot be questioned while they just pump any kind of food, and we have no idea what's going on, and it's chemicals, and we're trying actively to not eat this stuff, and I can't keep it out of my son's body. Fluoride in the water, that doesn't make sense, and I find out that it's been banned in Dallas. Wow, you guys, way to go. But simply because they wanted to save $1 million a year.
It's always about the money. If you answer that question for everything, it answers everything. Why is there fluoride in the water? Because it's too expensive to get rid of, so they create the American Dental Association. They get people in there, pay them off. Okay, it's good for your teeth, when it really isn't. It's never been proven, so they dump it in the water because it's cheaper. Why is Monsanto doing this? For money. Why do they put MSG in there? To make you eat more? For money. Why is the wheat make you eat more? So they can sell more stuff. It always comes down to the almighty dollar, no matter what.
And being a mother, I can't help but get into this stuff, like paying attention to vaccines.
The way this works is your kids are being assaulted from every single direction that you don't even know about. The food, the air, the water, the spraying, the chemicals, the vaccinations, the fear. I mean, it's everywhere.
Right.
You have to be hyper vigilant just to even try and stay on top of it. And you can't get it all. There's just no way. It's just it's everywhere, and whatever you can figure out, they're already 10 steps ahead of you and hitting you from other directions. So,
funny thing to me, I was having a conversation with Christine, who is often on our show, about how this country, there's a lot of religious, religious ideas tied into politics. And
She went. She just got quiet. We lost her, didn't we?
Who, me? Did you lose me?
Mm-mm.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. But the biggest irony in that to me is that on a fundamental level, I am trying to keep my son's food and way of life like as natural and in line with like what giving him natural medicine. I mean, wasn't that provided by the Creator? But I am going to possibly, there could be a scene where they take my child and take him to the doctor or to the hospital and pump him full of all these shots because I haven't. And I don't know. I was thinking about that this weekend and just thinking how confusing it is. It's like we live in opposite day every day in this country. It just doesn't make sense how difficult it is.
It's difficult because the people that have all the money and own all the companies control the media. So they show kids what they want to see. Everything is done with colorful characters. All the poison is sold with nice, pretty mascots, so they want it. I mean, it's all marketing. They just market it to the people, and the kids want it. They want the fun fruits. They want the chewing gum with aspartame. They want the Cokes, and they will drink it like crazy and eat the Doritos. But it's all designed to make you eat more, make you unhealthy, get you sick, so they make money off you buying the food, and then they make money off you with pharmaceuticals and surgeries because they own stock in all those companies too. So it doesn't really matter. They're going to make money on you from cradle to grave.
And people forget things, okay? So we've got a lot of Texas on this show today. Rick Perry, who, every time I say his name, I just am so embarrassed. And I think that it reminds me of The Tick, where there's a Tick episode where the mustache was evil and, like, controlled him. It's like, it's his hair. Anyway, Rick Perry. So Rick Perry and the hair made it mandatory that young women have these HPV vaccinations. And I mean, it was by law. It was a mandatory vaccination for young women, and then they found out it had not even been tested, and it was actually causing a lot of damage to these women. And the way my mind works is these women are all, every one of them, they're going to be having the babies that are the next generation of Texas, and we're just putting this experimental thing in it. And what is it? His family has stock in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he put the lives of every female in Texas, every young female at risk for profit via vaccinations. And this is why, everybody, I do not know anything about Jenny McCarthy's stance on it, okay? So please quit telling me to stop listening to Jenny McCarthy. Pay attention to history. We forget stuff, okay? I'm not going to put something that is on a time-released, whether it's mercury or not, it's time-released. It's being, like, jammed into your brain or your bones or something to be slowly leaked out over time. Whatever that substance is not, probably not, going to be very good for your child. So.
Yes.
That's where I am.
Don't get me started on vaccines.
Anyway. Okay, so on that note, let's bring us some love. Jennifer Perry, do you have any ideas for how to mommy ourselves this week? Any mommy the mommy tips for us?
I do. I have been feeling really beat down and tired. So I tried to go and find some things that mommies could do that would give them a quick energy boost. So I broke it down. I found some things that you can maybe drink or take, and then some really cool things that you can actually do too.
Okay.
Ginseng. I'm not a supplement person. I won't claim to be. But one of the things that I found was they said that if you would take ginseng, that it would help increase your energy throughout the day, that it helps with stress, aids in endurance and stamina. I don't personally know. Maybe you or Damon can speak to that. But it's supposed to help.
I don't know much about ginseng. I don't know much ginseng. I've heard about it for a long time, though. What do you have, Damon?
Are you talking about for energy? Is that what you're saying? For stamina?
Like quick little energy boost.
Yeah, ginseng works. Like bodybuilders and sports athletes, they take ginseng as just. I mean, it's in lots of different formulas. But yeah, you can take some good Korean ginseng or Siberian ginseng. That helps with stamina.
And it'll give you an energy boost throughout the day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. So maybe get off the Red Bulls and things like that.
Yes.
And ginseng might help to replace it. And it's supposed to be pretty inexpensive. You can get it at your local, like, grocery store or anything like that, right?
Oh, yeah. You can get that anywhere. It's really cheap. Probably $8 a bottle, maybe, and you can get tons of it.
See, that's even cheaper than Red Bull.
Yeah.
I don't own stock in them. Another kind of cool thing that I found was self-acupuncture.
What?
Yes, they did this study at the University
It's
of
called
Michigan.
cutting. It's a condition.
No. No. They did a study for real, and kids and students and people who were taught how to do self-acupuncture were like you squeeze right here between your thumb and forefinger, and you're supposed to do it for like 3 to 5 minutes. It's supposed to give you like an instant energy boost.
Like tapping?
Maybe similar to tapping. I don't know. I've never been kind of one of those people that have done that. But I don't know.
Better things to tap.
This is Mommy the mommy, not Daddy the daddy.
Things to tap. There's better things to tap. I am Mommy the mommy.
No. So, Alexis, do you have any things that you do that kind of help you get that little energy boost during the day?
Yes, actually, I have a really good rebounder, a cellusizer, and I have it out all the time. And 5 minutes. If I'm feeling slow and I know that I need to have, I have a 3-year-old boy. I need some energy to play with him. It's not fair if I'm tired, so I can go jump for 5 minutes. I can jump for 10 minutes, 15, whatever. But even just 5 minutes really gets me going. So. It's really hard to feel sluggish and drained after 5 minutes on my rebounder.
Huh.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. Anybody else? You guys have any cool, quick energy boost?
I do, but I don't think anybody wants to hear it. Go for it, Mary.
Coffee with butter.
Well, I use those little packets of emergency, 100 milligrams vitamin C. And it's a powder thing. You just put it in water, and it really gives you a boost. And I know it's purely vitamin C. There's no secret ingredients in there. And they're different flavors, and it really gives me a boost every time I'm sluggish.
That's wonderful, though.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah, because we were trying to come up with ideas and ways where you're not having to put all those extra chemicals in your body and those energy drinks and those things that are so bad for you. And so I guess like emergency, that would be purely vitamin C, so that's good for you. Ginseng, that's good for you. So things like that where you're not poisoning your body.
Oh, I have one more. Smoothies. I add cacao nibs. Little like pure raw chocolate cacao nibs to my smoothies. It gives it a nice little crunch, but it really wakes me up. It's like, whoo!
That's very cool.
Plus, I'm getting my smoothies, which y'all know how I feel about that.
Okay, Damon, health researcher, what's something that you can take?
Okay. I was drinking Monsters and Red Bulls like religiously, and that goes against what I say, but man, they were really good, and I needed them in the morning. So I kept drinking butter coffee, which everybody knows, but I changed it a little bit. I started putting ribose in my butter coffee, and I went from coconut oil to MCT oil, which is just concentrated coconut oil. Anyway, if you drink this stuff every single day, the MCT oil wakes your brain up. It's just like quick energy. And I just completely cut out the Monsters completely. I don't even want them anymore. And the bulletproof coffee is what it's called. It gives me enough energy all the way till 2 o'clock easily.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But let me just tell you, your intestines better be bulletproof because that coffee.
Right?
It was making me lose weight, so I had to start eating more. So
I tried it. It does actually make you lose weight. I will completely.
Real?
Putting butter in the coffee, I actually started losing weight. I did.
You do. Even though it's like
absolutely do. Your body, there's something about it.
It's 28 grams of straight fat, and I would drink 2 in a row. So like 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil or MCT. Cinnamon helps you stabilize blood sugar, and the ribose is something I started this morning, which gives you a lot of energy.
Is ribose associated with rose hips?
No. Ribose is a sugar. It's sweet. It smells like maple syrup, but it increases ATP, which your body uses as like its core energy currency. Like that, when you go all the way down to it, your body burns ATP before anything. That's how it powers itself. But ribose is it's sweet. You can put a teaspoon. You can put it in anything. You can take up to 10, 15, 20 grams a day if you want. But it'll help with like fatigue, energy problems. It kind of jump starts the mitochondria in your heart. I mean, this stuff is awesome. It is expensive though, so you can go on Google and type in bulk ribose and find it from places in bulk and get it cheap. But anyway, no, it's not. It doesn't do anything to your blood sugar. Your body uses it for just straight power. Tastes good, but.
I've heard of it before, but I obviously had no idea what it was. I thought it was.
Yeah, most people don't. It's more of an elite athlete type thing that people use. Most people don't know about it. I mean, if you Google it, you can find it. But if you get yourself a big jug of it, just start taking like a teaspoon a day and then work up to like 2 teaspoons a day, and it's great for fatigue. But I don't drink energy drinks at all anymore. I just do the straight butter-fat coffee.
Sounds delicious. Honestly,
you should share that recipe with the people in your house. Just saying.
I tried. You didn't like it, remember?
I don't drink coffee anyway, but
if you don't like coffee, regular tea is a little too underpowered. So if you do a chai tea, it's spicy enough to where I did a chai tea with all the other stuff, and it tastes really good. It just tastes like a foamy latte. There's no downside to it at all.
I'm going to taste it this next week, and I'll tell y'all the truth.
Talk about coffee. I want one now. It's
yeah, you start craving in the morning.
Wow. So, well, that was a wonderful, thank you for that segment, Jennifer. We definitely, as mommies, need to know how to pick ourselves up really fast.
Yes.
Yes. I will say, seriously, the rebounder is a great way to go. Jumping jacks. If you're really in a crunch, go do some jumping jacks real quick. Works. So, do we have a drum roll for our...
Yay!
This week's Hot Daddy of the Week here on Modern Mommies goes to Michael Solomon. Here you can see he is... He is just such a clown with his daughter, and I want to honor him here and say well done for being a stellar daddy. And also, I hear that he is a stellar partner as well for his fiance. And what she has to say, she says that he puts the 2 women in his life first before his own. He is such a nurturing human and can brighten anyone's day with a great big smile. He comes from a family of 5 women, and so he knows exactly how to fulfill the roles of father and a husband. And as you can see here from this picture, he says the caption in this picture was, I think he said, he asked her no. But I've seen pictures of Michael with his daughter, and they're always so playful and so happy. So we say to you, Michael Solomon, well done for being a stellar daddy. And this week's Modern Mommy's Hot Daddy of the Week. If you have a hot daddy or know of one and you would like to have them honored here on Modern Mommies, send a picture and a brief reason why to sgmodernmommies at sgmodernmommies@gmail.com. Or you can send it to us via the Modern Mommies Facebook page. If you're not on there yet, find us and join, because there's all kinds of great information there for you. And that about wraps us up for today. Thank you so much, Damon, for coming on and sharing your knowledge on supplements and such. It's always great to have you on. Damon is the in-house Soul Garden nutrition guru fella. Well, I want to say expert because you know a lot, but really we call you the expert student. But thanks for joining us, Damon.
Venus Prime Health is his show. He's got little segments come out every day.
Yes.
If you want to know more about Damon and his wisdom, he has little segments every day on soulgarden.tv. You can look that up.
Tell me the name of, because it's escaped my mind right now, but the name of your show there.
Venus Prime Health.
Venus Prime Health, yes. So there are really informative segments released every day on tweettalk.tv, Soul Garden. So be looking for that. Lots of information. Mary, thank you so much for joining us again. It's always wonderful to have you on the show with us.
Thank you very much.
Yay!
Thank you for sharing your insights, and your astrological wisdom was pretty helpful today.
Thanks. Thanks. I like
Yes.
And Jennifer, mwah, wonderful.
Yes,
Again.
Yes, so fun, so fun.
So that wraps us up for Modern Mommies. Again, we are here live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central here on tweettalk.tv. And until then, namaste, live, love, be.